Hey guys, welcome back to the Kool-Aid Podcast. Welcome back to another video. Guys, on today's episode, we're going to be giving you the weekly news roundup. We're going to be talking everything from the latest on the whole Dembele situation, and then we're going to be talking on both the Real Madrid game and the Arsenal game as well. And guys, remember, if you guys want to join and give your thoughts and comments, well, feel free to click on the link on Twitter. And guys, remember, if you guys want to listen to this, it's also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But let me say hi to both Ricky and SJ who just joined. What's up, guys?
Hello, guys. How you doing today? Hello,
um,
SJ.
Hello to both of you.
oh, what's up, SJ? Okay, guys. So first thing that we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about Usman Dembele. This is reported from Fabrizio Romano. Let me share my screen real quick. As you guys can see, La, La Liga 50 million euro release clause not activated for Usman Dembele to PSG, as there was no time to make it happen. As sources expected, verbal agreement between Usman and PSG remains valid. 5-year deal. PSG and Barca trying to close the deal in new way by the end of the week. I'm gonna go to SJ first. SJ, what are your thoughts on this whole Dembele situation? Because I haven't been really able to talk to you about it. Well, what do you make of the whole Dembele situation?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me here, Elias, and
Of course.
hello, Ricky, brother. So the thing
Yeah.
is, I think Dembele situation has made a mockery out of like the trust that the club has placed on him. With
Mm-hmm.
all due respect, because I think last season also in tough financial situations, his agent was overvaluing him and said, "Give me a bigger contract, give me a bigger contract." We refused to do so, and then he went to other clubs. No club wanted him. Xavi placed so much trust in him. Xavi actually forced the club to give him a contract like that, to insert these ridiculous clauses like that. And even this season, after getting injured, his agent was asking for a pay rise. I think after 7 years at the club, not only has he consistently asked for a salary which is beyond the player Dembele is, I think he was also asking for captaincy last week, which literally
Uh-huh.
makes no sense.
Yeah.
And now again, his agent is actually asking to make Dembele the second highest paid player in the squad.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, so I think Dembele will not be remembered in good eyes by me. I think we should try to close the operation for 50 and 55 million,
Okay.
whichever we get, and like close this chapter and close. This is again a Bartomeu era signing, and again I don't want anything to do with this guy. I don't have any fond memories of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
If people are saying that he's a snake, they are entitled to their opinion. So that's my opinion. I want to close this operation.
I completely agree, SJ. We have to remember that last season, as you said, it was actually Xavi who put the faith in Ousmane Dembele because the board and the fans especially they wanted him out. They didn't want him anymore. But Xavi put so much faith into the Bella saying like, "Hey, we're gonna make you the number one starter on the wing. I'm gonna play so much faith into you." And Barcelona had so much patience. We have to remember, Ousmane Dembele, his legacy at Barcelona is only gonna be remembered injuries, the countless injuries, as well as that miss against Anfield, because that miss against Anfield, against Liverpool, actually, and then not Anfield, and that's gonna define his legacy. And such a shame because this is a player that we paid so much money for, and luckily we are going to be getting a little bit more money out of it. Barcelona is now going to have to negotiate with PSG in order to make up a fee. I don't know if it's going to be 50 million euros. um the release clause has been jacked up to 100 million euros right now, but do you think 70-75 million euros is perfectly fine, or do you guys just like not want Dembele to leave the club at all? Ricky, what are your thoughts on this?
I think I agree with SJ. I think it's a chapter that has to be closed. Once this was brought into the air, no fan's gonna want Dembele to stay. I think it's time for him to go. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't think 70 million is enough. I think it should be for more, because it's just silly because it's a player that you thought, who even he said himself that for like he plays soccer for the passion, not for the money. And now look what he's doing. He's letting money blind his legacy, and it's finished. It's finished. It's exactly what you said as well. When I think about Dembele, I think about all the times he got injured, and then that miss in Anfield versus
Yeah,
Liverpool, that
yeah,
vital, crucial goal he
yeah,
needed to score. I will. When I think
yeah,
about
yeah.
Dembele, that is what I think about. So
Uh,
it's a shame how his legacy will remain like that, and I I don't think he there's really no room for him to stay anymore because of the ambience he's created after he's made this deal about wanting to leave.
Yeah, exactly. The club is so disappointed with him. 80 million. Oh, well, this is actually a good price. 80 million for him so we can get Bernardo Silva. He is an option. And this was actually going to be my next segue. Who would you guys think would come in to replace Usman Dembele? Because I did make a video earlier today saying like, hey, if Usman Dembele does leave, who can we bring in? And there are multiple options, and I want to get your guys' opinions on this. We have Rafinha, who we did buy to be Dembele's replacement, basically last summer. We bought him for 60 to 70 million euros with all the add-ons. We have Ferran Torres. We have Ansu Fati on the left. We have Abde. This is something we have to keep in mind. And rumors today about both Yannick Carrasco and Alexis Sanchez, but the dream signing would be Bernardo Silva. That would be Barcelona's dream signing. Or would you guys say, hey, let's not go out and replace a winger. Let's actually bolster our defense and buy Joao Cancelo and possibly Ivan Fresneda. That is an option. But SJ, if you were Barcelona, what would you do with the cash from the Usman Dembele move?
First of all, I don't think we'll get 75 or 80. He has 1 year left on his contract. So, like, I don't think PSG will play 75 for 80 for him. The injuries he has had, I hope they do, but I don't feel that they'll do it. I think it will be 55, 60. I feel that if we again sign a right winger, that will show. I think that will show that the club admits that Rafinha signing was wrong. If we go out and sign a right winger now,
Okay.
because then it makes no sense, because you made Rafinha 55 million signing a bench player, literally, because he was
Yeah.
actually a bench player in the sense that when Dembele gets injured, then Rafinha got the chance. So now if we sign another right winger, that means it was a panic buy, because the negotiations with Dembele were not good, and we bought
Yeah.
Rafinha. That means it was a panic buy. I don't feel either you just don't trust him and then you sell him as well, and then you buy a new right winger, or you trust Rafinha now. I don't think we should go out in the market, because first of all the clubs will know that again they have the money, and that they need a player and will have to overpay. So I hope that we don't go out now. I just feel that it will be stupid now to sign a right winger as well. I feel we can sign another other areas like the right back and the midfielder to
Hmm.
strengthen the team.
Precisely. If I was Barcelona, because as you mentioned, I don't believe that we're going to get a huge fee for Usman Dembele because he does have 1 year on his contract, and PSG they have to negotiate with Barcelona. I don't think that they're going to pay his release clause 100 million. It doesn't make sense. What does make sense is PSG pays, you know what, 50 to 60 million, and hey, Barcelona, you get everything of that. Yeah, you get everything of that, and all parties are satisfied. Usman Dembele gets that huge salary from PSG, and Barcelona they also recoup some funds. What I would do if I was Barcelona, I get that money and I go buy Joao Cancelo. I do that because going on to the our next segue, talking about both the game against Arsenal and the game against Real Madrid, our fullback depth was so lacking. But another player who was rumored actually, and this makes no sense, and I hope this isn't true, but Barcelona will reactivate their interest in signing Joao Felix if Usman Dembele leaves the club, and this is according to Sport. Now, Joao Felix to Barcelona. Uh, Ricky, what are your thoughts on Joao Felix? Because personally, I want Joao Felix nowhere near my club. If Joao Felix comes, I think it would be a completely like another Griezmann situation, a player coming in who doesn't have a position in the squad, and another expensive signing. But what are your thoughts? Do you think he would work?
He's not a bad player. He's a pretty. I mean, he was a flop at Chelsea. In
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid, he played amazing. Not amazing, but pretty good. He really did live up to his position. But when you're saying it like that, yes, I started to think about it. There's really no spot for him to fit, and it's just money that you guys are just going to be throwing out on another attacker or somebody just to play forward when you already have the resources to build on a beautiful forward, on a beautiful midfield. It's really more in the back you guys got to build up on, like the fullbacks.
Yeah.
And buying Joao Cancelo would be a very great idea for you guys. Me as a Manchester City fan, that hurts because
Yeah.
Joao Cancelo, he's actually a great player. When he was playing for Manchester City, there's so many good passes he made. So
Mm-hmm.
he filled in such a good spot there. Him and Kyle Walker, both on
Yeah.
our wings, on the fullbacks, and now you guys are probably going to take him. So, you know, speaking in a Barcelona fan point of view, yes, it's not a smart idea to sign Joao Felix and to go straight for Joao Cancelo. But me, I do hope you guys sign Joao Felix for the opportunity to not buy Joao Cancelo. But I do think it's a smarter buy to go for Joao Cancelo and not go for Joao Felix. His career his career is still young, and I don't think he's at that Barcelona level yet. Honestly,
Okay. SJ, what are your thoughts on Joao Felix to Barca?
I think personally go for Fresneda and not Cancelo, considering the
Okay.
age of
Yeah.
Cancelo.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
I think Man City, as usual, will try to get as much money as they can. I
Mm-hmm.
think 40 and 50 million paying for a player who is about to turn 30. He has fallen out with a lot of managers. Defensively, we have a good setup, and Cancelo will obviously ask to play every game. We can't play him every game against at least wingers like Vinicius
Yeah, you're
on the
right.
left. So I think Fresneda is a better choice, and I do think we'll go for Fresneda in the end. I think Man City and Barcelona, all I think recently, if you actually think about it, Man City have made it very difficult for us. Like Xavi came out in the interview saying that we are wanted Cancelo on loan, and they deliberately gave it to Bayern Munich because they didn't want to deal with us. So and Joao Felix, look, Joao Felix. The thing is, it's a presidential signing if we make it. It's not a Xavi signing. So president wants him, and look, I do feel that the guy is quality, but where will he play? That's the point. If we can actually define a position for him, and not the second striker, because the second striker position does not exist at our club.
Mm-hmm.
So if we actually can find a position for him and get him on loan, because we'll get him on loan, we will not sign him. Atletico can ask for whatever they want, but Atletico want to get rid of him, and
Okay.
they are training him with the second team, and like he has been discarded, and so we can get a cheap deal for him, and he has publicly come out and said that I want to play at Barcelona, so we might get a cheap deal there. So on loan, I don't feel it's a bad thing. For sign him, no, I don't think we should sign him, but on loan I think it satisfies all parties.
It could satisfy all parties. Just the one problem I'd see is that he would take up space in the wage bill, for example. Joao Felix, he has broken off like the relationship between both Joao Felix and Atletico Madrid. It isn't good because those words from Joao Felix, it did not sit well with Atletico Madrid. And so Joao Felix is looking for a new club, and uh, just I don't know if he would work at Barcelona, even if we get him on a loan. That's the thing. And why are we gonna have a player take up space in the wage bill when we like can't sign Vitor Roque, for example? We can bring him in with those wages that are being saved. And so just looking at the whole Joao Felix situation, it's not something that convinced me. I don't like that Barcelona is going for these type of players. I would much rather see Barcelona either go for a right back or a left back. Joao Cancelo is a player who can play on either flank. And as you mentioned, if Joao Cancelo does play, it has to be in certain games. It can't be in those games where Barcelona, where it's in, like, for example, like a UCL quarter or a big game against a top opposition, because we can be exposed. We do know that Joao Cancelo, he's not the best defensively, but the one thing that will work is that connection between Rafinha and Joao Cancelo, because Rafinha is the type of player that goes inside. He cuts inside. He's an inside forward. He's not the player to basically hug the wing, like, for example, an Abde or Dembele. And so Joao Cancelo being that overlapping presence, it can be very, very good. And talking about fullbacks, I want to share this real quick. As you guys can see, let me show you. After the game against Arsenal, Xavi and the coaching staff have realized that neither of Sergio Roberto, Des, or Alonso have shown the consistency and level required for Barcelona. We're now going to be talking about both of Barcelona's preseason games. So, guys, if you don't know, Barcelona have played their first two preseason games against both Arsenal, in which we lost 5-3, and the game against Real Madrid, in which we won 3-0. It was two completely different performances. In the first performance, Barcelona, I would say they played well, just not as well as Arsenal. Arsenal played much better. And then in the game against Madrid, I'd say Barcelona played well in the first half, and then Madrid came back in the second and the latter half. It should have been a much more close game. Just Barcelona were more clinical. But I want to ask you guys, what are your takeaways from both games? You can talk about both games or one game specifically, because one of the first key takeaways is that we need fullback depth. Like neither Marcos Alonso or Des have the level required to play for Barcelona. Ricky, you want to go?
Yeah, looking back at it, it hurts. I'm not a Barcelona fan, but it hurts seeing like Dembele score that goal, and now he's about to leave. Just makes me think, well, like if Rafinha will ever be able to live up to his standards. But that game, Real Madrid versus Barcelona, it was played amazingly well. Like you said, the first half, just the second half, it did fall apart a little bit. But the goals they scored were phenomenal. The Dembele goal, the goal, the other youngster that scored.
It was it was Fermin Lopez. It was actually his second game for Barcelona, and he scored that like rocket.
Banger.
Yeah, absolutely amazing goal.
Great games. That was a great game, and it's bittersweet when you think about that goal, because Dembele scored such a great goal and now he's leaving. But that's what I was just thinking about when I was thinking about Real Madrid versus Barcelona. But I think that game was amazing, and it's just so silly to think that you guys played such a great game, and then the game before you guys absolutely got battered by Arsenal. And as a Manchester City fan, I think Arsenal they're a great team, but I don't have too much. I have respect for them. I just still don't understand how such a team could ever lose blow a lead like that, a set from first place to second place in the league, and you guys let a team like that.
You do have to keep in mind, like, hey, it wasn't a good Barcelona performance, but Arsenal, they were much ahead in their preseason than Barcelona. It was their fourth match or something like that, and Barcelona, they just played their first match, and they were just coming from a stomach virus. So the entire squad, they had a stomach virus. That's why the game against Juventus.
You guys canceled that game against Juventus. That's right.
Yeah, we canceled that game because the majority of the squad was sick. And so bouncing off of sickness, and what's it called, being the first preseason game, it's completely understandable why Barcelona didn't play the best. Just, however, I would say, like, we can't read too much into these preseason friendlies, because it is preseason. We do have to keep in mind. Some teams can have great preseason and a horrible season, and vice versa. The same thing can happen. Just, you want to look at specific things. And the one thing I definitely saw in that Arsenal game was, like, hey, Marcos Alonso and Des, they don't have the quality to play at Barcelona. And this is why Barcelona, they're not looking to get either Ivan Fresneda or Joao Cancelo. But SJ, what did you think of the Arsenal game or the Madrid game? Is there anything in specific that you thought, like, hey, this is a good sign, or hey, this is very bad? Anything like that?
Yeah, I think comparing us to Arsenal, I think it's getting more and more it's getting more and more distant. I think they are a team which are signing a 30 million second choice goalkeeper. It's one of the most stupid things I've ever seen. They are trying to sign David Rea, and I think the Premier League spending has gone so far ahead of La Liga and every other
Yeah.
team that the disparity you can see. The Trossard is actually a substitute for them. So
Yeah.
like I think that there is a gulf in quality between Arsenal and Barcelona, at least in depth issues. They literally have two players in every position. But yeah, I agree that we were having a virus as well. I think I think against the Arsenal we were not very good, and I think we got open too easily. Saka again proving why he is probably one of the best right wingers in the world, and
Yeah.
I will be surprised if it does not end up at Madrid in 2 or 3 years. He is not Arsenal material. He's too good for that. So
Hmm.
and Madrid game was really good. I think against Madrid we actually played well as usual. We raise our standard for Madrid, and I think our defense again, as you said, we need full back depth. We actually need a new right back, and I think Ter Stegen has improved his position. I think a lot of Barcelona fans were against Ter Stegen a few years back, and
Yeah,
I
they
think
were.
he's improving now, and I think it's good for us. I think midfield was really good, De Jong, and I think attack. I hope Lewandowski gets his form back because it's a worrying sign that he is
Hmm.
literally again not starting the season well. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Okay, okay, yeah, because I would say Lewandowski, he didn't have he struggled a lot against Real Madrid. He didn't have like the greatest performance. I actually saw him dropping into midfield a lot, and that's something that I didn't like because as a number nine, you want him to stay up top, be that reference points in attack. Because as much as Robert Lewandowski is a very technical player, we want him to be up there just to basically anchor the defense. Just however, one player who I thought played absolutely fantastic in both games was actually Alejandro Balde. Alejandro Balde was sensational. And you saw the difference a world class left back makes in the team. I thought whenever he got the ball, he was absolutely electric. He was getting past players, and it was so fascinating to see that we have a left back that we can count on for many years. It's so exciting, but we need to be very careful with him because if he does get injured, we cannot be counting on Marcos Alonso to fill that spot. And we know how vital depth is to the success of a season because we saw last season when all of our starters they got injured. We had Eric Garcia and PK starting in the defense, and you saw how everything crumbled in the Champions League. But fair to Eric Garcia, he actually played really well against Real Madrid. He had a very good game, a very solid game. In many instances, he was able to clear lots of balls and was key in certain defensive areas. Just one player that, no, actually, one other player who also played well in the Madrid game was Romeo. And the partnership between both him and Frankie de Jong, that's something that's very interesting because Frankie De Jong, under Sergio Busquets, I feel like Frankie De Jong was protecting Busquets because Busquets he didn't have the legs that a young Busquets had, and so Frankie De Jong, his freedom and everything, he was a little bit anchored into that midfield. But with Romeo, it's completely the opposite. You feel they complement themselves each other so well. Frankie De Jong has the freedom to roam around, be a ball carrier, go up and down, do whatever he wants, and Romeo can just basically anchor and just um, cut a play and everything like that. It was such a fascinating partnership to see. But to either of you can answer the question. What are your expectations on Romeo? Because in the first game against Arsenal, he did seem a little bit lost, but in the second game against Real Madrid, we did see more of him. Uh, do you think that he's going to be a successful signing? Yes or no? We do have to remember we only paid 3 million euros for him against the midfield, which was roughly around like 200 million, something like that, in Real Madrid's midfield. Ricky or SJ, either of you can go in and jump in.
You can go ahead, Ricky.
Uh, so I mean, I didn't know you guys had paid 3 million for him. So to say if he's going to be a successful signing, maybe he's like an overstatement. because you only got him for 3 million euros. So
Mhm.
he's probably going to. Hopefully he fills into his role pretty well, but it's not like it's going to be a waste, honestly, because I mean, for the quality that he played for in the second game versus the first game, it's just a matter of learning to
Uh-huh.
play the Barcelona style.
Yeah.
And if he was able to adapt in between one game, who knows how much how much faster he can adapt into the other games when you guys start playing more
Mhm.
during the season. So
Mhm.
I think he's going to really fill into his role and really be a great player and an addition to Barcelona. Only for 3 million euros, you guys got a solid signing then. So
Yeah.
it's more of just saying if he can really just keep up with the Barcelona squad, because he was already it was already a successful signing to sign somebody like that for 3 million euros.
Yeah. So lots of people say like, "Hey, he's a stopgap," and it is true. True, he is a stopgap. He's only going to be here for 1 or 2 years, something like that, if he's successful. But we do have to remember, profiles matter. In Barcelona's midfield, when you see lots of players they have so much technical quality. However, there is no one like Romeo, a player who is physical. And can cover the pitch and can just basically be a destroyer. We don't have that. You could say Kessie, but Kessie doesn't really have, I would say, the pace or the mobility to move around the pitch as or Romeo does. He's a player who can play that role. However, I don't see Xavi having the trust in him. But SJ, do you think that Romeo is going to be a successful signing for Barcelona?
Yeah, I do think so. I feel that he's a great stopgap. I just am happy that we didn't go for Danny Parejo. We would have been absolutely get cooked in transition if we signed
Oh
him.
my God.
Because I think, yeah, I agree with you, because I think not only is a different profile, and by the way, for the 3 million clause, he actually paid from his own pocket, and he's a
Yeah,
former La Masia product. So that shows
exactly.
how much he wanted to come to the club. We need these kind of players. I have always said, in these tough financial conditions, we don't need players like Dembele who ask for a pay rise every season, and we need players like Oriol Romeo. He's coming on a very cheap salary. He
Hmm.
actually paid his own clause. He will be the destroyer in our midfield for 1 or 2 seasons, and the club can find out the future DM, or either promote Mark Casado and Pau Prim in that time.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I think he's a good signing, and I think against Madrid he showed his quality. By the way, on a side note, Madrid were going so harsh on the challenges, and
They were.
it's embarrassing that the referee was allowing it. And then when De Jong went for it, the Madrid fan pages are now posting that De Jong should have been sent off. It's embarrassing how they play dirty every game. So I would like the you guys take on that as well.
No, yeah, that game we have to remember that El Clásicos are never friendlies. They're always played with such high intensity. However, I didn't like these words from Dani Carvajal to Barcelona. I'm convinced that in official competition we will step over them. I don't know if Dani Carvajal knows, but in the 9 games in which Xavi has played Carlo Ancelotti, he has only lost 3 games. He has only lost 3 games, and we do have to remember that in multiple thrashings, Barcelona have given multiple thrashings to Real Madrid. We do have to remember that. And so many historic nights, and so I want the players to basically look at these words, and the next time to play Real Madrid to keep them in mind, because these are fighting words here, basically. Um, and actually, on a side note, I wanted to talk about Gundogan and Christensen because they both came off actually later in the game. Gundogan came off pretty early, and then Christensen actually a little bit later in the first half. Just Gundogan is okay. He what's it called? Another Barcelona news outlet. And he basically asked Gundogan, saying, "Hey, are you okay?" and everything. And Gundogan did reply, "I am okay." However, I don't expect to see them playing in the next couple of games. I definitely see them holding out and then playing maybe at the start of the La Liga season just to give them some rest and just to recuperate, because we do not want to be going into the season with already having 2 of our key players being injured. But guys, that was it for tonight's episode. SJ, Ricky, thank you both guys for coming on. And guys, remember, I post a link on Twitter. If you guys want to join in and give your thoughts, comments, and discussions, always feel free and welcome. And guys, remember, as always, like, subscribe, and